Hey everyone, Bandit here. Welcome back to the channel. We're back in Microsoft Flight Sim, and for today's stream, we're going to feature a flight in the recently updated 737-800. PMDG finally updated their final 737NG to their high detailed update version of the aircraft. So it just gives a lot more fidelity to the overall aircraft in terms of detail and textures. Must say it looks really good. The last one looked okay, but this one looks really good. We're here in Broome, Australia, and we're going to do a flight down to Perth. Looks like a beautiful day. We're just boarding up, and this is kind of in theme with the latest Australia update for Microsoft Flight Sim. So this is one of the bespoke airports that they added to the sim. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Nice little airport. This is a real-world Virgin Australia flight. They operate this flight from Perth up to Broome and then back to Perth. So without further ado, let's hop inside and get things set up while they're finished boarding and loading the bags. Early morning departure here out of Broome. Yeah, so I tried a couple of the airports in the World Update. They look pretty good. Feature with the aircraft update, we can just go out and walk around, look at the textures. Say hi to the passengers as they're boarding. But things look really good overall in the airplane. Detail looks great. Open panels from the outside. Nose gear looks great. Tires look awesome. Excuse me, buddy. Textures look really good overall. And then something like the detail in the wheel well looks pretty good too. So you got your tires look really nice, the brake wear indicators, and then your wheel well. And normally when you do your walk around, you check your hydraulic levels, fluid quantities. I wonder if they are actually mapped to the real levels in the sim. Yeah, so overall it looks really good. So we'll hop back inside. And again, all the textures in here look really awesome as well. We'll walk through the cabin on the way down. We've got a long flight down to Perth. Anyway, so I've already loaded the data from SimBrief. Gonna get Beyond ATC going here so we can get some traffic going. See our departure out of Broome is really light winds, good visibility, 22 degrees, 1008 is already set. So that looks good. So we can go to initial position. We've in a through flight here. We'll go to the route and we'll request our flight plan. And I've already set the fuel and payload into the sim. We got 24.1 for fuel. So we'll just go select route and get that loaded up. We'll look at the chart here. We got almost 8,000 foot runway. We've got digital ATIS, full tower, and ground frequencies. So full service airport. We'll load up our route. And then on the second CDU here, we'll go over to the ATS and we'll get the ATIS. Bring up our flight plan here. So our destination, or departing YBRM. And we've got a ATIS. Beyond ATC, no airport found. Oh, maybe I put that in wrong. So let's go YBRM. There we go. Okay, so we have ATIS Romeo, winds calm, 221008, runway 10 in use, transition level, flight level 110. I don't know, we have Romeo. So we can go do our departure request here. Departure clearance, we have ATIS Romeo. We're at stand 2. And go YBRM. That all looks good. We'll send that off. And we can put runway 10 in here. So we've got YBRM to YPPH, velocity 1488 off runway 10. And the route is direct BRM. And then Quebec 38 to Papa Hotel. So we can activate and execute that. Or our perf, we'll request our perf data. And we'll wait for our clearance to come in. So runway 10 with airport info. We can look at an intersection takeoff, runway head, or Foxtrot 3, which is 7418. So that would be from this intersection. So we can put that in for 7418 for the departure, and I'll show you how to do that for your takeoff performance. That way you can take an intersection takeoff. Okay, we got a comm come in, so let's go check that. View message. We're clear to Perth, runway 10. Expect vectors after departure. Climb to 6,000, squawk 5501. ATIS Romeo, when ready, call 1217. If unable, revert to voice, so we'll put 1217. In there, and squawking 5501. And 6,000 feet. And off runway 10, the heading's 104. Put that in. And I'll just put that in the course just for a reference for the heading. We'll say the engine failure. It's pretty flat around here, straight ahead, so that'll be our engine failure. These are for reference only. You don't really need to have anything in here for departure. So I'll just put 104. That looks good. So let's load our data. We'll check it with the flight plan here. So we've got cost index of 53. We're going to be flight. So I don't know why SimBrief doesn't, or why the PMDG can't get the altitude from SimBrief, but we're going to be going to flight level 340. Our zero fuel weight is 132.6. 132.6, fuel 24.1 is good. Gives us a takeoff weight of 156.7. By the time we taxi out, that'll be 156.2, so that looks good. So we can execute that, but we'll modify our cruise to be 340. Execute. We'll go to our takeoff page, and we'll do a takeoff data. So I said it was 7418. We'll go to our performance tool. Take off runway 10. It's good. And that would be full length 76. So I'm just going to edit that. And 7418. Sometimes it takes a few times to get this in here. 7418 dry, runway 10. We'll import the weight from the aircraft. Air conditioning on. Okay, anti-ice is off. Import the weather. And we'll calculate. And that'll be flaps 5, TO1, 32 degrees, and that looks good. I don't know why the trim is so wacky there. see what we get. Okay, so we're going to do a TO1 for 32 degrees. Takeoff flat 5. CG is good. And it's going to be 44, 45, 51. And so you can see the numbers are a little bit different because we reduced the distance a little bit. So we use these numbers here, 144, 145, 151. 144, 145, 151. There, we're good for an intersection takeoff if we get it. Not sure if they're going to have us backtrack or do that taxi down the other side. The taxiways are fairly narrow on the other side. I think realistically they would probably have you backtrack, but we'll see. But at least we're good for the departure. Well, I think the boarding is complete. So let's just go and do our flow. So we'll go to the overhead. Everything looks okay here. Belts are on. Doors are still open. Baggage doors are closed. I'll check the hydraulic. Put the window heat on. We'll set 34. And our destination is 67, so we'll just put 50 here. That looks good. Everything's okay there. We'll check our panel. Flight directors are on. Looks good. We'll check our hydraulics. Pressure is good. Put it on the engine. Turn the A pumps off for the pushback. Well, looks good. Transponder is in. Radios are set. And I think we are all set. So we'll ask GSX to prepare for a pushback and departure. And then we'll call up ground for pushback and departure as well. Okay, I'll get the chart up here. Anybody in the chat, have you done any of the flying in Australia since the world update? I did a flight in Melbourne and Sydney, and the photogrammetry looks pretty good. We'll see how it looks coming into Perth here. This is a pretty small city, so shouldn't... I don't know if they have any photogrammetry up in this area, but they do have this bespoke airport, which is nice to have. Okay, so we'll call up ground for push and start.
Velocity 1488. Gate 2, request pushback. Velocity 1488. Broome ground. Pushback and engine start approved. Face north. Pushback and engine start approved. Face north. Velocity 1488.
Oh, I'll have to get rid of the chocks because GSX doesn't seem to want to do that here. So just make sure our parking brake is set first. We'll get rid of the chocks. And let's do a before start checklist. So oxygen is checked, IRS mode selectors are nav. Fuel, we got 24, we're clear with 24.1, but we have some additional fuel, so we're good. Passenger signs are on. Window heat is on. Pressurization mode selectors is auto and set. Auto brake is RTO. Parking brake is set. Stabilizer trim cutout switches are normal. Rudder and aileron trim is free and 0. And departure briefing. It's just going to be runway heading up to 6,000. Engine failure straight ahead, and flap retraction altitude will be at 1,000 feet. That's our takeoff briefing. Takeoff briefing is complete. We're clear to push back face north, so we'll get the beacon on. Transponder can go to on, transponder mode. And we'll get the pushback going here. I don't know what What's going on? Oh, we have a aft entry, so it's not going to close that door for some reason, so I'll do that myself. Go to door management, close all doors. I don't know why. Okay. Don't know why it won't stay closed here, but we'll arm all. Nope, still stays open for some reason. I guess I'll have to get GSX to I don't know why that we'll have to okay, it's reset, so we'll have to request pushback and start again. I don't know why I didn't pull off that I don't know why I didn't pull those stairs off the back there, but anyway. GSX can be, it's really good, but it can be a real pain sometimes. So we'll do the before start checklist below the line. So FMC CDU, so we'll put the legs page on here. Menu, FMC, legs, takeoff page, set and verified. N1 airspeed bugs are set, DTO1, 32 degrees. Reduce bleeds on and RTO. We'll set our trim, 5.34 units. Doors and windows are closed and locked. Anti-collision light is on and transponder is transponding. For start checklist complete. I think almost everybody has a love-hate relationship with GSX. It looks great, but it can be finicky sometimes. Okay, so we'll face north. And clear to start. Starting the push. So it'll be packs off. Engine start number 2. We have rotation. Low pressure N1. 25%. Start her up.
All aircraft be advised information Sierra now current. QNH1008.
How's everybody enjoying Sim Update 5? I can't say I'm a big fan. I don't see any really improvement. I actually probably see a little less improvement in the overall operation of the sim, but I think Sim Update 4 was much better. Okay, stable on number 2. We'll start number 1. Yeah, I find I get some micro stutters now that I never used to get in Sim Update 4, so I don't know what they did, but anyway, they obviously have a problem because they're doing a update to the update, so. I mean, for the amount of time it was in beta, you think they could iron out a lot of those issues before they release a final update. Okay, oil pressure N1, 25%. Anybody in the chat, if you want to let me know how Sim Update 5 is working for you. Okay, 56% started cutout and stable on number 2. Lead on. I'm kind of doing both the captain and the FO flow here. Off. That's 5. Saw the guy walk away with the pin there. Check our steam pressure is good. So after start checklist, generators are on. Hydraulics are normal. Probe heat is on. Start switches are off. APU is off. Start levers are idle detent after start checklist is complete. All up for taxi.
Velocity 1488. Ready to taxi to the active.
We might take us across and down here, or we might backtrack us out. Not sure.
Velocity 1488. Taxi holding point runway 10 at pilot's discretion.
Well, I guess I'll just taxi out Alpha.
10, my discretion. Velocity 1488.
Okay, we'll get the taxi light on. Brake is released. Check our flight controls. Taking a lot of power to get going here. Oh, don't tell me that tug is still connected. GSX, what are you taking so long for? Let's get my park and brake back on. I thought I saw the guy over here with the pin, but I guess I saw the red pylon. Rookie mistake. That's the problem. I didn't have GSX sound going through the headset, so I didn't hear the guy's instructions. So my fault. Not GSX fault. There we go. Got the pin. Tugs away. So let's taxi out now. Yeah, that was my fault. I didn't hear the guy say push complete, set park and brake, and that's why they didn't disconnect. And I was busy doing the start, so I thought they had disconnected while I was finishing up the start.
Velocity 1488. Via Charlie Cross runway 10, taxi via Charlie. Hold short of runway 10. Via Charlie Cross runway 10, taxi via Charlie. Hold short of runway 10, velocity 1488.
Okay, so we're cleared across, clear right, clear left. So cleared across at Charlie. And then I'm assuming it's going to take us down Foxtrot there. Kind of said hold short.
Velocity 1488. Via Foxtrot Tree Cross, runway 10, taxi to holding point Foxtrot Tree, runway 10, via Charlie, Foxtrot.
That makes sense. Charlie Foxtrot, Foxtrot 3.
Via Foxtrot 3 cross, runway 10, taxi to holding point Foxtrot 3, runway 10, via Charlie, Foxtrot, velocity 1488.
Pretty narrow taxiway here, so you want to kind of oversteer so you don't get your main wheels off the taxiway. Hey Marco, yeah, it is a pretty small airport. Thanks. Yeah, it doesn't look like a very big town on the map either. I'll have to look up some info on it when we're airborne here. I don't know about the MD or the TriStar, but I do know the MD-11. Yeah, it is a pretty automated airplane. I've been doing some flying in that recently, and it's been a lot of fun. I think it was one of the first highly automated airliners. So we're taxiing out, so let's do our flow. So we got everything looks good, so we'll do our before takeoff checklist to the line. So flaps 5, so we got 5 planned, 5 indicated green line detent. Flight controls are checked. Trim is 5.33 units. Takeoff data is checked. We'll set heading select, and recall is checked before takeoff checklist. Complete the line. Although this airport is full service, so that's nice. You get the full Beyond ATC. You can do some VFR flying out of here because it does have a full tower and ground. So a lot of the smaller airports like this in Australia are just Unicom airports, so you don't get the full tower service. Have to do a VFR flight up in this area. Be a nice short flight from here to Darwin. So we go right to the end of the taxiway and hold at Foxtrot 3. We can take a departure from there since we did the takeoff numbers for that. Look at your engines are so close to the dirt. You're picking up dirt here. That's why I think in real life, since this taxiway is so narrow, I think most likely coming from the terminal that the 737s would probably in real life backtrack. But we'll see. Oh, I think Foxtrot 3 is actually a little further up there. Yeah, I don't think we're going to taxi on the dirt track there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to tower, and we'll just request a backtrack, I guess. So tower frequency 126, and we'll just request departure from here, and then we'll backtrack.
Velocity 1488, ready for departure, runway 10. Velocity 1488, Broome Tower. Wind 010 degrees. 2 knots. Fly runway heading. Runway 10 cleared for takeoff. Fly runway heading. Runway 10 cleared for takeoff. Velocity 1488.
Okay, we'll take the backtrack since we definitely didn't do the intersection takeoff from here. That would have been a pretty short takeoff. Yeah, I wasn't aware. I hadn't taxied out on this runway 10 before, so wasn't aware that taxiway turned into a dirt trail. Doesn't look like it on the airport chart. It looks like a paved. Okay, we'll enter the runway. We'll get the strobe light on. And we'll do our before takeoff checklist below the line. So flaps are 5 set, auto throttle is armed, cabin notification is completed, engine start switches are continuous, transponder is TARA for takeoff checklist complete. I'm pretty sure the 737 is not geared for off-roading, so. Yeah, I think you're right there, Marco. It's definitely a real-world airport. I think I'll come back to this airport and do some GA flying with, like, the Baron or the Bonanza or the Dukes or something like that. Yeah, another thing that leads me to believe that they would backtrack for the 737s is they have these big turnaround bays at the end of the runway. So we get our landing lights on. Being cleared for takeoff. At 40%. Hit toga. Set thrust. And thrust set. I did a little test sector with this airplane and the auto throttle wouldn't turn on for some reason, so seems it's kicked off again here. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thrust is set. 80 knots check. Cancel that. I don't know what's going on with the auto throttle on this plane.
V1T. Positive rate of climb.
Get the gear up. So if your auto throttle kicked off in real life, you just continue the thrust. You just make sure that the thrust is set properly. So now I got to set it manually here. Thrust set.
Velocity 1488. Contact Brisbane Centre 133.4.
Get the autopilot on. Heading select.
Velocity 1488. Brisbane Centre. Velocity 1488.
3,000 feet. We'll bug up.
Velocity 1488. Brisbane Centre. Good morning. Identified. Climb flight level 170.
Flight level 170.
Level 170. Velocity 1488.
70 set.
Velocity 1488. Turn right. Heading 210. Turn right. Heading 210. Velocity 1488.
Flaps 1. Return heading 210. Flaps up. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on with the auto throttle on this airplane, but last flight I did with it was kicking off as well. Anyway, now you're going to see what you do when your auto throttle doesn't work. So I got flaps up, no lights. We have manual thrust, level change, and after takeoff checklist. So your autopilot still works fine. It's just that you have to set the thrust automatically yourself. Okay, I'm going to accelerate to 250. So after takeoff checklist, air conditioning, pressurization is set. APU is off, engine start switches are off, landing gear is up and off, flaps are up, no lights, auto brake is off after takeoff checklist complete.
Velocity 1488. Cleared direct Budlow.
So I'll just set 95 on both.
Cleared direct Budlow. Resume own navigation. Velocity 1488.
So climb thrust is set, and we're clear direct Budlow. So we'll go direct Budlow, execute. We'll go LNAV, VNAV. So now we're looking good. So we got LNAV, VNAV speed, still manual thrust. So I'm going to put on some terrain, airport, just for information there. And looking for 10,000 feet. Okay, 10,000 feet. Get our landing light off. And it looks like nice smooth air. We'll get the, we're accelerating to 322. There's transition. Set standard, standard. Standard. Set. Get the seatbelt sign auto. I think we're good to go. So I'll try re-engaging the auto throttle here. So the only checklist response, if you have an auto throttle kick off, is to try to re-engage the auto throttle. And if it doesn't re-engage, then it just tells you to fly with the auto throttle off. So just use manual thrust. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure why it's kicking off. There's no faults in the PMDG. Yeah, Marco, this is a normal position. So you have this is the older style of the landing gear for the 737. So you have up, down, and off. And so in order to shut off the hydraulic pressure against the valves for the 737, after you raise the gear up, then once the gear is up, you put it in the off position, and that depressurizes the system for the flight. But the newer ones do that automatically. They just do it by solenoids within the landing gear lever. So, and then when you're ready to put the gear down, you just put it down. So we'll see how long this stays on. Yeah, so going back to the auto throttle, if it kicks off, then you just keep flying. You just have to do the thrust manually, and if it kicks off, try to put it back on if it stays on. So we'll see how long if it stays on here. But if it kicks off again, then we'll just fly it with manual thrust for the rest of the flight.
Velocity 1488. Climb flight level 340. Climb flight level 340. Velocity 1488.
Okay, up to 340. Let's hop outside and get a look. It's early morning here in Australia. Yeah, so I looked in the settings here. PMDG setup, aircraft, failures. There's no active failures, so I don't know why the auto throttle is kicking off. But we'll see. And I don't have it set that if I move my throttle, it kicks it off, so I'm not sure what... oh, there we go again. Kicked off again. setting thrust, so auto throttle resets, auto throttle is off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fly it manually for the flight, because I know it's just going to keep kicking off for some reason. So I don't know if that's a bug with PMDG or if there's something going on with my throttles. So we'll set as close to 96.7 as I can. And there we go. Okay, so now we're airborne. Let's do some data links so we can log into, if you want to go on your chart here, you can see YBBB is Brisbane for the area we're in right now. So let's go to ATC, data link menu, or sorry, ATC, login status, YBBB. Send that off. And while we're doing that, let's do our route wins. So we missed our en route wins. Yeah, going back to your question about the landing gear, if you notice anyone flying the Max has just a simple up and down landing gear there. So we had an ATC uplink, but I'll load these wins first. Just telling us we've logged into YBBB. So I execute those wins. We'll go to descent, forecasts, we'll load those. Let's see what the weather is. 1019. 1019. We'll execute that. So that's our descent winds, and then we'll go to data link, ATC, and we've got request login. We've just sent that. Login accepted. And current unit is YBBB. And the ATC has disappeared, so we've acknowledged all the ATC messages. Back to the client page. Yeah, so flying without an auto throttle, obviously you just have to be more careful what mode you're flying in. So VNAV speed is just going to target your speed, and we just have climb thrust set. So that's a nice, easy setting for the throttle. You want to be careful of flying vertical speed in auto throttle mode, because you're going to have to do a lot of throttle movements to get the appropriate speed, because the airplane's still going to try to fly what you have commanded for your pitch mode. So you want to probably level change is, or VNAV speed or VNAV climb is your safest modes to be in for climb and descent. And yeah, and you have to just be careful on level off. You're going to have to reduce the power a little bit. Easiest descent is to do level change descent and just go idle thrust. And then you're going to have to bring up your throttle on level off. So it's a bit more challenging, but happens in the real world. You can MEL the auto throttle as well. So you can get an airplane that has an MEL'd auto throttle. So you just have to do everything with manual thrusts, and so that's not a big deal as well. I think the only thing you can't do without the auto throttle is a Cat 3 auto land. You can still do Cat 2 manual land, but you can't do Cat 3 auto land. And as long as the autopilot is functioning, you can fly an RVSM. There's no restrictions related to that. Yeah, so it's just an inconvenience, but you can deal with it. So what I do is I probably send a note to maintenance saying our auto throttle is kicked off. They'll show up in Perth and come out and look at it, and they'll go down in the E&E bay in the bottom of the, just by the nose gear, there's a little hatch there where all the electronics bay is. And they'll probably find the box for the auto throttle system and do a built-in test switch on it, or built-in test on it. And then they might be able to do a reset. So if I recall, I've flown with auto throttle a few times. No auto throttle a few times in the past. I'm pretty sure most of them were MEL'd. I think I had one auto throttle kick off a couple times and we just flew it manually. And then when we got to our destination, they just went down, did a reset on the box, and then it was good to go for the next leg. So probably failed at built-in tests and just wouldn't activate. So I'm not sure what's going on here in the sim because I do not have any failures on, and I'm not sure why it's kicking off. So climbing away here pretty good. We'll do a little fuel check at lot B there. So let's go to our flight plan. And lot B, we should have 19.2. We're going to be above that, so that was looking good. Yeah, so those of you who watched my last couple of videos, or last video, I purchased the L1011 on the marketplace, and yeah, I've been flying that a bit. It's a lot of fun, that airplane. I'll feature that on the stream in the future, just on a normal flight. I don't think I'll do many rear mode flights with it, because career mode is not working great in my opinion. Still a lot of issues with it. So but it's a fun plane to fly. Lots of cargo, real world cargo flights. I think they're going to be flying them again soon. FedEx will be back in operation hopefully soon. It's supposed to be this month, I think. And hopefully iFly comes out with an update for their Max. I mean, the Max works great in the sim right now, so it'll just be a more in tune 24 Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 version of the Max, their new version. It'll be nice to see that come out soon. I thought it would be out by now, but okay, we have an ATC message, so ATC pops up here. So we go into our data link page, ATC, view message, contact Brisbane on 34.5 Wilco. We'll see if it automatically switches. It's 50-50 whether it's been doing it. Oh, it did do it, good.
Brisbane Centre, velocity 1488. Good morning. Passing flight level 263, climbing to flight level 340.
Velocity 1488, Brisbane Centre, identified.
So you can see I got to bring my power up a little bit because as we climb up, tapers off a little bit, so I have to bring it back up because our climb rate was getting pretty slow. So there we go. Yeah, so it made the switch automatically there. It's kind of 50-50 whether it does in the 737. That's good to see. So we accepted we hit Wilco and then the ATC prompt went away, so that's all good. Go back to our climb page. Yeah, so overall the 737 is working pretty good now in the sim, except for this flight and the last flight. The auto throttle has been giving me issues. sure what that is. I don't think I've seen anybody else have that issue. A lot of desolate open space here between on the west side of Australia. I just saw a little thing about Perth there. It's one of the most isolated major cities in the world, as far as proximity to another major city. And Australia is a big country. Well, this is like a 2.5-hour flight just to fly from the northwest part of Australia to the southwest part of Australia. So, yeah, fairly decent size country, and I think the nearest major city is probably Adelaide. So it's a long way from Adelaide to Perth. You got Darwin up here, same thing, a long way from Darwin to Perth. We're fairly isolated. Keep adding a little bit more power. So we should be transferred over. This is the FIR boundary here. Should switch us over. I think Melbourne is the southern area here, so should get that momentarily. Still a couple thousand pounds to go in our center tanks. Set this up a little bit. Or just checking back in the chat here again. KLM is better than BAW. Okay, that's good. I won't disagree with that, but anyway. I like the PMDG 737, but I find it's hard to remember to start up for me. But I think I'm going to get the iFly 737 Max. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Max. I think Max is a good choice with the iFly, and they're going to have an update out for it pretty soon as well. And everybody's flying Maxes these days. Boeing can't keep up with the deliveries. But it really doesn't matter which one you get. PMDG is nice, the iFly is nice, and it's a common type rating for both planes, so if you can fly one, you can fly the other. So the startup procedures is pretty much identical. So the whole FMCs are the same. It's really not a lot of difference in the operation of the airplane, whether it's the NG or the Max. Okay, so we go to Prague. I forgot to get the fuel at Love T, but if you go to the Prague page, it'll tell us we had 19.5 at Love T and we needed 19.2, so we're 300 pounds ahead on the fuel. That's good. Almost getting up to our cruise altitude. If you want to help yourself with the startup for the 737 there, KLM is better. You can use the checklist here, and this is nice too because it gives you the, it'll tell you where all the view spots are, so it'll show you where everything is. So if you follow these checklists here, it's a good way to get used to the startup procedures for the aircraft. And then after you do it half a dozen times, then you can do most of the flows from memory yourself and not have to rely on this checklist so much. But that's a good way to practice. That's usually what I do when I start flying a plane I'm not familiar with. So like when I started on the L1011, or sorry, not the L1011, the MD11, that's what I was doing. I was using that checklist there. Because I had no idea where the switches were initially. But now I can pretty much start the plane without the checklist. So, although still use a checklist for your basic checklist operations, but. Okay, we got an ATC. A new data link. ATC, the message. Contact. So we'll local that. It's Melbourne Center. 25.4. We'll see if it switches automatically here, but doesn't look like it's going to, so I'll do it myself.
Melbourne Centre, velocity 1488, flight level 340.
Okay, and we got login accepted. Current ATC unit is YMMM, Melbourne Center. Perfect. We got one more message up here, so let's go. Oh, this one here, handover from YYM. Okay, so that you want to make that's only, you got if you got the ATC message, it means you haven't read something. So that one probably came in first. So I think we got everything accepted now. And if we go to our status, we should be logged in. Current unit is we're connected to YMMN. Perfect. So it did the automatic handover. Back to our cruise page. And we're getting leveled off here. So of course I get busy, so I need to watch the speed because I don't have an auto throttle. And so cruise 7.9, I'm just going to set something a little bit below this. Kind of just monitor that. Surprised I was just getting into the clacker there. Surprised I didn't get the clacker, but so this is not what you actually set for the cruise. You're going to set something below that. So I'm going to set around 90 right now, and we'll see how this stabilizes out. It's kind of your max NG for the cruise phase, because we're in the cruise phase of the flight right now. Yeah, the auto throttle, I'm not sure they're KLM, but it kicked off on takeoff, and I did the aircraft updated a couple of days ago or the other day, and I did a test flight with it, and it kicked off as well on the first flight I did, and this is the second flight I've done in the airplane, and I'm not sure why it's kicked off. But there's no failures in the you go to the PMDG setup, aircraft failures, there's no active failures, so I'm not sure why it's kicking off, but I'll try to turn it back on again. So I have a auto throttle on, so it's now going FMC speed, which is the correct mode, so it should adjust the auto throttle, but we'll see how long it stays on this time. If it kicks off again, I'm just going to do the rest of the flight in manual throttle mode. Oh, there we go, kicked off again. So auto throttle is off. Just leave it set there, so about 89. Yeah, I wish I knew what it was. I don't know if it's a bug in their latest update, but I've never had the issue before. Anyway, it mimics what can happen in real life. It's an electronic control box that controls the auto throttle, and if it runs through a built-in test function and if it fails something in that test, I don't know how often it runs it, but your auto throttle will kick off, and they'll either have to replace the box or reset the box when you get on the ground. And the checklist, all it does is tell you you can try to reset it like we did, and if it keeps kicking off, it just tells you to fly in manual throttle mode. So it's not much you can do. Okay, so let's get some weather for Perth and see what's going on there. It's on the ATS side, ATIS, YPPH. Perth, winds 0303, good visibility, 7 degrees, 1019 on the altimeter, runway 3 and 6, transition level 110, and ATIS Hotel. Perfect, so let's get some charts up for that. We can get rid of that. Arrival, Perth. Airport chart. In that. Parking stands. I think we're in this terminal for Virgin. And yeah, so let's look at the airport. They're saying 3 or 6. Yeah, so 3 would be ideal, I guess, because we could exit Papa and then we're going to park over here somewhere in Terminal 1, I think. But 6 would be okay too. We just have to exit probably Whiskey. Pretty tight to make Sierra, but Whiskey back around this way. So we'll see what we get. There's no star, so we just need to pick an approach. So I'm going to look at what the options are. So on runway 3, we have an ILS Zulu runway 3, so we can pin that one. And runway 6 is just an RMP, so we can pin that one as well. I'm going to double check our flight plan. I'm pretty sure, no, it's just to Papa Hotel, NDV, or VOR. Papa Hotel, VOR. So no arrival, and so we got, those are 2 approach options for when we get closer. No point in setting anything up yet. If I go to the legs page, and it's got, yeah, that's a good altitude. So it's got 1,200 feet, so it's basically 1,200 feet above sea level, above the airport for altitude for calculating our top of descent, so that's pretty reasonable since we got to go a little further south to get land, so that should work out pretty good. Yeah, so we'll see when we get a little closer. We'll get some indication from ATC what our options are going to be. Anybody in the chat seen anyone else having any issues with the auto throttle on the PMDGs since the latest update? I should go have a look on the forum and see if there's anything. But while we're looking, let's go and check out the cabin of the airplane. Well, this is not a special Virgin cabin, it's just a normal cabin, but the detail looks really good.
Sorry, occupied.
Oh, occupied, yeah. I guess they didn't want to model the bathroom, so that's one way to do it. Get yourself some coffee, turn on the coffee machine or the hot water. Lighting panel, this is the same one they have on the Max, so they have the updated lighting system on this NG. Air stairs probably wouldn't be on an airplane like this, but I guess they are loaded on there. I'd have to go disable that in the settings. Automatic lighting on, yeah. So I think we'll just leave that on. Oh, I'm lost here. Where am I? Oh, there we go. Yeah, the cabin looks good. Nice and detailed. It's just a generic one-class layout cabin, so overhead bins look okay. I don't spend much time in the cabin, so for those of you who like to come back here, it's modeled reasonably well. Imagine the back alley is going to be the same. Just head back up to the front. Door is closed. So the RMP is pretty much a straight in. There's no radius fixed turns. Be nice if they had one with a radius fixed turn. Just see if they have the any other approaches. They might have another one there. So runway 6. Oh, it's just a VOR. So that's the only options for runway 6. See if there's oh, that's not going to help us for 3. So the RMPs aren't going to really help us much, so might as well do the ILS. So we'll be vectors for whatever they give us anyway. Yeah, it'd be nice if they had, for traffic coming from the north, RMPs with a nice radius fix arrivals. So you just come downwind, you join the fix, and then you just do a nice 180 turn to final. That'd be a perfect approach for coming in from the north here, but doesn't look like it's an option. Row 4? Yeah, I think I actually... that's pretty close. Let's just make sure where we are here. Row 4, left engine. There you go, that's your view. Are you going to be on the left or right side? head over to the right side just in case. So where are you going on vacation there, Kayla? Yeah, that's a good view, good seats, row 4, because you're got a good unobstructed view looking down and forward, and then you got a nice view looking back at the engine. Sweet. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't been there. What's it like there? I have looked that up. Lanzarote, Spain. Whoa, looks beautiful. Wow. Cool. Well, that's down off the coast of Africa. Wow, that's... I'm assuming you're flying on Jet 2 down from the UK. That's probably what, 4-hour flight. From Birmingham, yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, have a great trip. Looks like a cool place to go. Yeah, I was going to look on the PMDG website if they had anybody mention about the auto throttles. Yeah, I'm just looking on their forum site here. I don't see anything yet.
Velocity 1488. Contact Melbourne Centre 128.15.
Got an ATC message.
Centre on 128.15. Velocity 1488. Bye-bye.
Well, that was probably that ATC message, so they got tired of waiting for us to call back.
Flight level 340. Velocity 1488. Melbourne Centre. Identified.
Okay, so we're on 2815 and he's checked in already, so good. ATC message going. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't sit in row 4 if I want to hear my ATC messages. Do a search for auto throttle. Okay, I do see somebody else said since the update, they've had several auto throttle disconnects. And they're using a Thrustmaster Broome throttles. So it might be a bug. Fuel. So we got our fuel. That means our center pumps are empty. So I'll shut that one off for now. We'll empty it right to 0. Shut the other one off. Yeah, I do see a few posts on here about people having the auto throttle disconnect, so hopefully they get that fixed. Let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're flying the 737NG, if you've had any issues with the auto throttle. I suppose I could check circuit breakers too, but no, they don't really. Oh, do they pop now? Nope. Yeah, so none of the circuit breakers function. So I don't think it would actually pop if it had a problem with the auto throttle, but there were no failures indicated in the PMDG setup. Another fuel check at November, Whiskey November. Flight plan. That's Newman. 15.9 we need. And the prog shows we're going to have 16.5, so we'll be plus 600, so we'll be making gas because we're plus 300 at the last waypoint, so yeah, looking good. On the fuel, our alternate is just up the coast here. See if I can see it on the map here. It's YGEL. So it'll be up there. Look at our flight plan. We go back to our payloads, our alternate. So we need basically 7,000 pounds to go to our alternate if we have to. And that's about a 40-minute flight away. Yeah, so we're not quite halfway, getting there. There's the fuel, the other one, so we shut the pumps off. Good. It looks pretty red out there. Yeah, so I did a flight in the 700 yesterday, and I didn't have any issues with the auto throttle, so I'm just wondering if it's an 800 thing. And I did a flight from Melbourne to Sydney, and yeah, the photogrammetry in both those cities looked really good. So fun to do flights in Australia. Both Virgin and Qantas fly the 737, and if you like doing A320 flights, I think Qantas has some A320s as well, but definitely Jetstar flies the A320 in Australia, so lots of options for both planes. I think next flight live stream, I'm kind of hoping the avionics update gets released with the update for the ATR, and I would like to do some ATR flights in New Zealand. And I'm also looking forward to when the Q400 comes out. That would be an awesome plane to flying this in. Tons of great flights in Australia and New Zealand as well. You can fly with the Q400. And then Semantic should have out the A220, so that'd be another plane you can fly in Australia. Qantas flies the A220. So lots of new hardware airplanes coming out for the sim, hopefully this year, that will give us some more options for flying down under. Let me know in the chat or the comments what your most anticipated plane is coming up for the 2026. I think for me it will be the Q400 and the 757. A220 as well. That'll be a good plane. So I'll get a fuel check, and then I'm going to go take a quick little break just to top up my water, and hopefully not miss any ATC calls while I'm gone. So if you're enjoying the stream, take time, hit the like, share, subscribe, sign up for notifications, and you can see videos like this when I put them out in the future. I try to do a live stream once a week, and then I also try to get a recorded video out once in a while too. I think the next recorded video I'll do on the MD-11, and then I'm looking forward to the update for the ATRs. I'd like to do some ATR flying. And probably get back to doing some GA stuff. We'll just double check our fuel. So 19 or 16.5 we're definitely going to have. So we're 600 pounds up on the gas, so fuel is looking good. I'm just going to go to top up my water, maybe get a bathroom break in, so I'll be right back. Hopefully I don't get any ATC messages while I'm away for a few minutes. Anyway, I'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. No ATC messages, so that looks good. Yeah, Marco, you're right. It really opens up a lot of airports to be able to fly like a Q400 or an ATR. And I do like the short haul flights a lot better. So I'm looking forward to when the update comes out. Add a little bit of thrust here, we're slowing down. So Prague, we should be landing at 5-0, so another hour and 20 minutes. Starting our descent in 28, so descent in another hour. Those are fuel at Perth at 10.2, our reserves are 7, so we're looking pretty good. Got enough for a second approach if we need to. Yeah, we'll see how ATC does with the vectoring. It's been okay the last few times. I've had pretty good vectoring. Sometimes a little tight, but doable. See if the weather's changed from our, so we go Battle Link, ATS, message log. So last one was hotel, so let's see if there's a new one. Yep, ATIS India. Winds have picked up a little bit, 0306, no significant weather, 019, runway 3. Arrival runway 3, departing 3 and 6, so arrival runway 3. So, perfect. So we'll start thinking about that. Transition level is 110. Nice. We'll decide 3 will be our approach, so we'll use the straight in approach for runway 3, the ILS Zulu. We can load that in our arrival. ILS Zulu runway 3. No transition, we'll just execute that. Go to legs page. We got PH, then a disco, and then we've got Bitum. So we've got Bitum at 3,000 feet and 185 or below. 185 or below. And we've got Pumed, and that's at 1,600 feet or above. 1,650, sorry. Yep, 1,650. Runway 3, and then missed approach, straight ahead 016, 1,500 feet, then track of 300. So 016 at 1,500 feet, left track 300, climb to 3,000 feet. So that's all good. So all the waypoints are good. The frequency is going to be 110.1. And the course is going to be 016. Okay, perfect. So we're going to be coming in this way. So they're going to take us on vectors downwind for runway 3. So I'll do the rest of the setup when we get a little bit closer. We'll get a new ATIS probably after the top of the hour and just update everything based on that. Sorry, catching up on the chat here. Hey, Alaskan edits. You got vectored for some approach by AI and PHL in Honolulu, and like I'm cooked, son. 34% fuel. That's in, what aircraft was that in? You just said it was a twin. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot between Broome and Perth on this leg here. Like flying over a desert. Yeah, Virgin flies the MAX as well. It's a nice aircraft option to fly as well if you want to fly down under. Anybody join in the stream, I'm just let you know I'm flying with no auto throttle on right now. It's been kicking off on me for some reason. Not sure why. Second flight I've flown the 737 since the update, and the auto throttle has been kicking off. So we just fly with manual throttle. So if you look at your FMA here, your flight mode enunciator, this is your throttle setting, so that's why it's blank. I'll turn it back on again, but so it goes to FMC speed, which is the correct mode for cruise we're at right now. So that shows that it's on, but then it'll probably just kick right off again here. And the middle FMA is your lateral navigation, so it'll be like heading LNAV for following your LNAV course. And the right is your pitch mode, so it's right now following our cruise altitude and VNAV path. So because I have VNAV selected, and the path is our cruise altitude of 340. So that's the pitch attitude that's going to maintain 340. So you can think of your FMA as throttle, navigation, and pitch control. See how long it stays on this time. Watch, I'll hop outside view and then come back in and it'll be off. Oh, still on. Anyway, let me know in the chat or in the comments how Sim Update 5 has been working for you. I had a lot of issues with the update. I had to reinstall the Sim, and I was stuck in the start page for quite a while. Oh, there it goes, auto throttle off. Yeah, so if you just join me when the auto throttle kicks off, there is a checklist for it. It just tells you to reselect it back on, and then if it goes off again, you just I'm not going to reselect it because I've tried it a bunch of times. And if it kicks off, then you just have to fly in manual throttle mode. So that's all there is in the checklist for auto throttle turning off. Yeah, so like I was saying, Sim Update 5, I don't find the performance any better. Actually, I find it's a little bit worse than it was for me for Sim Update 4, and I did have a major headache trying to get the sim running after Sim Update 5 installed. So I had to uninstall, reinstall the sim. I had to disable everything, my community folder. I had to even then I still couldn't get in. I had to trick it to go into safe mode, and then once I was in safe mode, I had to disable all the stuff in my marketplace folder. So disable all the stuff in the marketplace, and then I was finally able to get in, and then I just re-added the marketplace, re-added the community folder, and everything seems to be working now, but it was a huge pain. And I do find the performance a little bit degraded for me from Sim Update 4. Hence why I think they're doing a Sim Update 5 beta again. You would think with the amount of people in the beta that they would get enough information and feedback. I didn't do the beta this time because Sim Update 4 was working pretty good for me, so we got an ATC. Contact Melbourne Center, so we'll set that. See if he makes a switch for us automatically. 27.3. Yeah, it's kind of 50-50 in the PMDGs if the guy switches automatically for you here. But I'll just do it myself.
Melbourne Centre, velocity 1488. Good morning. Flight level 340.
So we've cleared that message, so the ATC is gone.
Velocity 1488, Melbourne Centre, identified.
Yeah, so I hope this new Sim update fixes the issues that they caused, because Sim Update 4 was working great for me, and so I'd like to see that performance at least get back to that. So let's see if we got a top of descent right there, around 320 miles away. 335 actually. A little bit of a headwind. So the airport we took off out of Broome, it was one of the add-on airports for the World Update Australia. I think they added about 5 airports. I checked out about 3 of them, and they look pretty good. Nice extra airports to fly out of. It'd be great when we get the ATR or the Q400, because I think the Broome they fly the 737 out of, but I think the other ones just are ATR flights or Q400 flights. And Perth, we're going to Perth, and I have the Orbex Perth add-on scenery, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good airport. And I do have lots of, there's lots of great freeware add-ons for Australia as well, for smaller airports. So if you want to do a lot of flying in Australia, New Zealand, really you could get away with probably purchasing, I think if you purchase Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Perth would probably be the only major airports you need, and then there's enough bespoke airports and freeware airports on flightsim.to that you could cover quite a bit of Australia. Same thing New Zealand, you really only need Wellington, Auckland, and Christchurch, and then the rest, there's tons of great freeware airports you can get to cover off New Zealand. So you don't have to invest a lot of money to get some great sceneries for Australia and New Zealand. And you can do flights between Australia and New Zealand, and well, they're about 3-hour flights. And there's wide body flights, the 777, 787. Even Emirates flies the A380 from Christchurch to Sydney, so, or Christchurch to Melbourne, I think, or maybe both. So lots of great flying options down under. Yeah, let me know in the chat or in the comments what your favorite airports are to fly in Australia and New Zealand. Let's look at our performance for landing. We're going to be landing on runway 3, 11,000 foot runway, dry. Import the aircraft weight, weather. Looks pretty reasonable. Calculate that. That's based on auto brake 3. So that would be 5,700 feet. Could probably definitely get away with auto brake 2. Reverser, no. So do that. That looks good. So 7,400 feet. And if I go to the chart, and that should work out well for exiting Papa. We'll exit the right of Papa and park in here somewhere. I'll leave it at auto brake 2, and should work out pretty well. Just go on manual braking if we need to. Oh, parking still. That's no good. I need the parking spots so we can see. That's the one we need. Yeah, so I think somewhere in this terminal is where we're going to end up parking. We'll just pin that one. I don't think we need the RNAV. We'll just keep the ILS Zulu. So we can go auto brake 2. And we'll put ref 30 in. So we can brief the approach and get that out of the way. And we'll update the weather before our top of descent and go from there. So we're gonna, the weather is good, so we're just gonna be, we'll just get the latest weather here from the wind 0405, no significant weather, and 9 degrees, 1019. Perfect. So the approach is going to be the visual approach, but we'll back it up with the ILS Zulu runway 3. The frequency is 110.1. That's set twice. The final approach course is 016. That's set twice. Crossing the FAF at Pumid at 1,650 feet. And that's in the box. Minimums we don't need to set, but airport elevation is 67 feet. And in venomous approach, climb straight ahead on a track of 016 to 1500 feet, then a left turn on a track of 300 to 3000 feet. Expect radar vectors. Transition level is 110, and that's pretty much all we need. So that's going to be our approach. If we have enough fuel, we should have extra about 3,000 pounds of fuel, which allow us time to go around for another approach if we need to before we have to divert to our alternate. Yeah, so I think that's all looking pretty good. Well, we can run an approach checklist. Or descent checklist, sorry. So descent checklist, pressurization, land altitude is set, 50 feet. Recall is checked. Instruments are set and cross-checked. Landing data is checked, ref 30, speed 150. And auto brake is 2. And approach briefing is completed, so descent checklist is complete. Hey Marco, so you like Queenston? Yeah, that's a pretty good airport. I just use the bespoke airport for that, so it's not too bad. That's one of the airports included with the sim. I'm not sure which level you have, but there's some great approaches coming into Queenston too. Those RNAV approaches that come in through the valley. And the departures there are pretty good too. Depart up those valleys or over the fjord there. It's pretty quiet on the radio. Probably because in real life it's early morning here in Australia, so wouldn't be a lot of traffic. I think we'll pick some up when we get closer into Perth there. So if you're watching on departure there, because the auto throttle was off, when I leveled off, I was slow bringing back the thrust because I was busy doing something else. So we did get up to the edge of the clacker, but the clacker didn't go off. Anyway, in real life, if you do touch the clacker, you'll let maintenance know, and maintenance will look in the computer. But you do have to go, I can't remember what it is, but you do have to go do a good 5 knots into the clacker before, or maybe even more, before they actually have to do any service checks for an overspeed. So just touching the clacker, that's kind of your little warning. Okay, I better do something about the throttle and get things sorted out. But if you go too deep in the clacker, then maintenance will get an alert, and they'll have to do a overspeed safety check. But you can just touch the edge of the clacker and go a little bit into it without having too many major concerns. That's why the clacker's there. It's just to warn you of an overspeed. So on the approach, we're going to have to deal with the manual throttle. So what I'll do is I'll just use level change for the descent. I'm not going to use VNAV. And I'll just go idle thrust and level change for the descent. And whatever the program speed is, I'll fly that speed for the descent. And if I get down a little bit early, it's not a big deal, but just minimize my throttle movements by making one throttle change to idle. We'll get a new ATIS there a few minutes after the top of the hour. Bubble Bob, where am I flying to? I'm flying to Perth, Australia. So if you look in the header at the top, YPPH is Perth. We're flying from Broome, Australia. Before today, I never heard of Broome. I didn't know it existed, but it's a small little town on the west coast. And Perth is the major city on the west coast. I did see a little short little documentary on Perth, and it was interesting. It's a very isolated city. It's over 2 million people, but it's like well over 1,000 miles from the nearest other major city, which I think is Adelaide. And apparently it's pretty expensive to fly in and out of Perth too. They don't have a lot of international flights, so you pretty much have to fly to Adelaide or Sydney or Melbourne to get on another flight if you want to go somewhere. Yeah, I don't think the ATC on has been this quiet ever on Beyond ATC. I set the time a few hours ahead, otherwise we're going to be taking off in the dark. So the real time in Australia right now is probably 5 a.m. on the west coast here, so there wouldn't be very many flights operating. Pretty desolate part of the world. You kind of see why the west coast, west side of Australia is not as populated. Although there are roads down there. Might be a little town or something over here. I'm not sure. See if anything shows up on the chart. Yeah, could be a little town there. Should be a far chart. Let's see if there's a new ATIS out. The last one we had was India. And Juliet. Wind 0405, 9 degrees, 1019, runway 3. And transition level 110. So, yeah, I think that's as good as we're going to get. I don't think the weather's going to change too much. We don't need to update anything for our brief. Top of descent is in 26 minutes. Should get one more frequency change, I think, before we, a couple more before we get to Perth. Yeah, I'm going to do, I think in a couple years, I'm going to do a trip to Australia. Probably go for a couple of months. Not sure if I'm going to head out to the west coast, though, but I've heard it's beautiful over in Perth and down at Margaret River. We'll have to see if we can fit it in. Nice view from the emergency exit window. This is about row 7 or 8 on the left-hand side. Look, even the sun causes the scratches to show up on the window. Yeah, it's pretty good. So again, anyone joining in the chat, just to update you on my FMA, you see it's blank here. I have the auto throttle off. And I'm not sure why it's been kicking off on me in this since the update for the recent update that came out for the 737-800 with the high detailed update that was released a day or two ago. This is the second flight I've done, and the auto throttle has been kicking off on me on the 800. So I'm not sure. On the 700, it was working fine. Just on the 800, it's been malfunctioning. So I'm just flying with manual throttle, which is why you see the auto throttle is off and my FMA is blank on the throttle. So I'll have to fly the whole approach with the manual throttle, which is not a big deal. Just a little more work. Especially when you're a single pilot and trying to do everything yourself, it makes it a little more challenging. But in real life, when you're the flying pilot, you just have to focus on flying and let the non-flying pilot do everything else. So it's a little easier in real life to deal with this type of situation when you're in the sim. Though you don't have that option, so you have to do pretty much everything. So a little more higher workload. Be starting our descent in 146 miles. So right now they're landing runway 3. So if we go to the plan mode, kind of see how it looks on the. You just use the step function. You can step through your plan. So you can kind of see we're going to Papa Hotel VOR, which is right over the field. And then here's the approach right here. So I would imagine they'll probably take us vectors down this way and over and in for the vectored approach for runway 3. That'd be my guess. We'll see when we get there though. So quiet, I have to make sure Beyond ATC is still running. Looks like it is. We could do something like request a lower altitude. Just, say it was a little bumpy here, so we could just go on and request flight level 320. So let's go to the Edelink, request altitude 320, and we'll just say for weather for rides, and we'll send that.
Center, VHVND 1481, flight level 329er.
Oh, there is somebody there. Wow.
VHVND 1481,
Go to
Melbourne
data link.
Center, identified.
ATC. Let's receive. Descend to flight level 320. We'll accept that. Put 320. And if I hit alt intervention, it will go VNAV path and start a descent, but it's not going to do anything until I bring the throttle back a little bit, or it'll overspeed if I don't bring the throttle back a little bit. So okay, that's definitely a bug, because now it shows me a throttle mode enunciation and I have the auto throttle off. Yeah, so there's definitely something buggy going on with the 737 here since this latest update, because that should still be blank. Okay, so we're descending to 320, so we got our cruise of 320. That went in because I hit alt intervention, so 320, and we don't have to put it up here, but we can put 320 as well over top. So just keep an eye on our speed, because we're just manually controlling the throttle for descent here. But that shouldn't say FMC speed with the auto throttle off. So we're 1,000 to go. We'll see what happens when I let level off, if it goes away. So about 89%, I'll bring it up for leveling off here. Yeah, so the auto throttle is not doing anything because I have it shut off, so this should not be displaying anything. So if I turn it on and turn it off, see, it goes blank. So I'll set around 90. Yeah, so maybe I'll send a ticket into PMDG about this, because I did see on the forum a couple other people mention the auto throttle kicking off on the 800 as well. I'll just double check there are no failures in the no active failures. So our descent is going to be at 300 transition, so I'll plan on just flying a level change descent at 300 knots, just to make it easier for using the throttle. Yeah, so if you have no throttle, normally your descents will be at idle, So you can use level change, and it'll fly whatever speed is in your window here that you have selected. Nice thing about level change mode is if you want to descend a little bit slower, like if your rate of descent's too high, you can just leave it in level change mode, and you can add thrust, and it'll still fly that speed, but because you're adding thrust, it'll reduce your rate of descent. So level change is definitely the best mode to fly in when you're doing a descent. Keeps your speed under control, and then you just have to monitor level offs, and makes things a lot easier. ATC uplink. Contact Melbourne Center on 34.2. We'll accept that. Oh, he made the switch this time on his own.
Melbourne
Good.
Center, velocity 1488, flight level 320.
So that's cleared. We're good.
Velocity 1488. Melbourne Centre. Identified.
See if he gives us the runway here. It says in the ATIS runway 3, so I'm sure that's what they're going to be using. Oh, another message. Back Melbourne Center, that was pretty short handover there, so accept that. 35.8. Yeah, he made the switch automatically. Good.
Melbourne Center, velocity 1488. Good morning, flight level 320.
Velocity 1488. Melbourne Centre. Identified.
Lots of big lakes in this area here. Considering it seems pretty arid. But they kind of look like dry lakes on the map here. But maybe they're not always full of water. If anybody in the chat or comments knows if these lakes dry up, let me know. So it doesn't really show any lakes on the VFR chart here. Maybe if I zoom in, it'll show them. But that kind of looks like the outline of where that lake would be. We've done the descent checklist already. That's all good. We're going to stick with everything we had because the weather hasn't changed at all. Might update my ref speed. So it'll tick down a couple knots. So it's 48. So 150 there. So bring it down a bit. quite see the coast yet. It's quite often probably where that cloud line is. So things should get busy here once we get on the approach. We have to fly this in manual throttle. So I apologize if I don't keep up with the chat while I'm doing this, but I'll try to. Another ATC. Contact Melbourne Center. 25-2. Okay, FO's doing a good job at switching those over.
Velocity 1488. Flight level 320.
Velocity 1488. Melbourne Centre. Identified.
Yeah, it's nice to see the CPLC working now, and all the PMDG airplane works in the 777, works in all the 737s. So it's a nice feature to have. It's 50-50 on the auto respond, though. Sometimes you have to do it manually. For the CDPLC, all the voice communication auto respond works pretty good.
Velocity 1488. Report ready for descent.
Wilco, velocity 1488.
So we got 36 miles till top of descent. We don't need to start early because we're landing heading north, so we're going to have to go by the airport and do 180, come back in. So we don't need to start early or anything. So I'll just wait right till top of descent. I'm surprised they haven't told us which runway to land on, though. Usually they tell you. But we'll go with runway 3 since that's what the ATIS says. Might as well just double check that one more time. Juliet was the latest, so we'll just make sure it hasn't changed. Oh, it has changed. Kilo. Wind 0206, cap OK, 9 miles, QNH 1020. 1020. Arrival runway 3, departing 3 and 6. Transition level 110. Perfect. So no real major changes. That all looks good. I should have tried the auto update feature. I'm not sure if that is an option to choose that. No, sometimes you'll have an auto update function, so you can just select auto update, and every time a new ATIS comes in. But I don't see it as a selection here for the PMDG. That's a nice feature to have, because when you're going into a busy airport and if the ATIS changes on you, you'll automatically get it pop up, and you don't have to keep searching to see if it's changed at all. For anyone who saw my last video, I did a career mode in the MD-11, and yeah, it was fun. Career mode still has its issues though, but one of the issues is the cost of maintaining that airplane. I barely make enough money to keep the maintenance costs up on the airplane, so I think that needs to be adjusted a little bit. But it's nice to see some good third-party airplanes going into career mode for those who like to fly career mode. Okay, I think we'll get our FO up.
Velocity 1488. Descend to flight level 160.
I guess ATC read my mind.
Descend to flight level 160, velocity 1488.
So flight level 160. I'll just go level change. That will open up the speed window. We'll stay at 7.9. And you can see it's not going to do anything, because it's not going to start descending until I bring the throttle back. So I bring the throttle back, and it'll start to descend. So I'll bring it slowly back to idle. And I'll let it, so the forecast or the planned descent was at 7.9 to 299 or 300 knots. So I'll let it get up to 300 knots, and then I'll transition over and maintain 300 knots for the descent. So right now the window is open. It's going to stay at 7.9, so the indicated airspeed will increase as we descend. And once it gets to 300, I'll just hit the changeover button and maintain 300 for the remainder. So it's pretty much there now. So I'll set 300, and then I'll maintain 300 for the remainder of the descent. Now you see we're descending pretty fast here. I'm in level change mode. It's going to target this speed, and I'm at idle thrust, so that would be an idle thrust descent. But if I want to descend a bit low, like something a bit less than 3,200 feet, I'll just add a little bit of thrust. And let it stabilize. And you can see the rate of descent is starting to decrease. But it's going to maintain that speed. So you can control your rate of descent with thrust in level change mode. So you can see we're below the path, so I really don't need to descend like crazy here. So I'm just going to keep a little bit of power on descent and keep the rate of descent probably something like, go for about 2,500 feet per minute. So I'll just add a little bit of thrust. You can see we're well below the path. So this is the safest way to fly with the auto throttle off, is in level change mode. And when you're climbing, level change, full climb thrust, and just leave it at lead full climb thrust. And then you just bring the throttles back when you level off. So a little bit, bring a little thrust off to get it back down to 2000. And see we're catching back up to the path there. You can fly in VNAV too, if you want, but I have no altitude restrictions coming in here, so might as well just fly it in level change. And in VNAV, you just have to be more careful because it'll try to fly pitch to maintain the path, so you can get slow if you're in VNAV. You don't have the auto throttle protection to keep your speed. We're just staying around 3,000 below the path. Add a little bit more thrust. Don't need to get down too fast because we do have to go downwind. Okay, well, coming up here, probably put the belts on. See it with this cloud layer. Might be a little bit more turbulent when we get down around that level there, so I'll get the passengers seated. Flight attendants can start cleaning up the cabin. That was interesting. Wonder what the who that was.
Window 192, Melbourne Centre. Good morning. Identified. Climb flight level 340.
Lindo.
Velocity 1488. Descent to 8,000 feet. QN H1020. Descent to 8,000 feet. QN H1020. Velocity 1488.
8,000, 1020. The transition level is 11,000 feet, so we'll get that transition in a little bit. Getting back on the path. You can see the banana bar there showing just past the airport at 8,000. That's where we level off at 8,000. So I'm going to bring the power back a little bit. Make sure we stay close to the path. You just have to manage this yourself with the throttle. Got to remember to bring my speed back myself because it's not going to, in level change, it's going to stay 300 until I change it. So make sure I do that before 10,000 feet. About 12,000, I'll dial the speed back. Just maintain it slightly below the path, which is fine. Should get taken on vectors, I would say probably somewhere around here. Okay, I'll dial the speed back to 250. You can see we're in level change mode, so the pitch is going to command the speed. So we'll pitch up to get back to the speed, and then it'll pitch down to maintain that speed once we get back to 250 there. Thrust back a little bit to keep the descent going. A little bit of green in this area here. With some farmers' fields. We're getting a little bit above the path now, so I'll bring the thrust back. But I'm not too worried because we got to go downwind, so. Okay, bring the thrust back to idle, 250.
Velocity 1488. Descend to 5,000 feet. Descend to 5,000 feet. Velocity 1488.
You can see 5,000. We're going to be level, pretty much abeam the runway there, abeam the airport there. So that's pretty good altitude to be downwind. And bring up the approach plate just to see. I think the approach starts at 3,000. Yep, 3,000 feet. So there's transition. We'll set 1020. It's set there, and we'll set it here as well. We're coming up to 10,000 feet, so we'll get the landing lights on. So we're no landing light on. We'll tell the flight attendants to prepare for arrival. So flight attendants prepare for arrival. And we'll get the approach checklist. So altimeters 1020 set. Cabin notifications completed. The descent checklist, or approach checklist complete.
Contact Perth approach 123.6.
Contact Perth approach 123.6, velocity 1488. Perth approach, velocity 1488, passing 9,700 feet, descending to 5,000 feet with information kilo.
Velocity 1488 Perth approach. QN H1020, expect radar vectors for ILS approach runway 03.
There's the airport right there.
QN H1020, expect radar vectors for ILS approach runway 03, velocity 1488.
Okay, so that's what we have planned, the ILS 03. There's the airport right there.
Velocity 1488, turn left, heading 195, vectors for the approach.
We'll go heading
Turn
select,
left, heading
195.
velocity 1488.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I said probably a right downwind, so that's looking good. We'll just stay in 250 level change, but now we can put an intercept course to the approach. So we have the Bidham is the track, so we can go legs, we can take Bidham, now that we're on vectors, and the inbound course is 016. Nope, 016. And we can execute that. And that gets rid of our track. And if we scale out, you can see it's a nice straight in approach for runway 3. So we're on a perfect downwind. Descent's looking good. Let me know in the chat if you want me to record the landing, and then we can look at the landing from outside after we get to the gate. I gotta remember to turn on the flight recorder though. Yeah, so there's downtown Perth. Looks like a nice sized little city. Nice harbor. I got to start paying attention here, so I'm going to level off here. I'm going to have to add the power. I'm going to bring the speed back. So when I'm level, I'm going to have a bug speed, but the speed is going to be based on what power setting I have, so I'm not always going to be right on speed, but I'm going to just try to get as close to it as I can. So it's just a reference. Normally the auto throttle would target that speed, but I'm going to have to do it manually. $1,000 to go. Gotta start bringing in a little bit of power. Ease the rate of descent. Get out the choir. So even without the auto throttle, your autopilot still functions totally normal. That's a pretty good power setting. I'll hold. So now that it's pitch mode is maintaining the altitude, and the speed is going to be just based on what I have set for the thrust. Yeah, I wasn't intending to go through how to fly with the auto throttle, with no auto throttle today, but that's the way it goes. Happens in real life, and I guess it happens in the sim as well. So we hopefully get a lower altitude here shortly. Planning to intercept at Bidham. Now, did he say we're doing the ILS or the? I think he said we're doing the ILS approach. So normally, if you take on a visual approach, they keep you pretty tight. So that'd be a bit more challenging. But I think we're on vectors for the ILS, so we should be pretty normal radar vectors. Speed's getting a little slow, so I had a little bit of thrust. And I'll bring the speed back to 220. That's just a reference I'm setting for myself. The airplane's only going to fly that speed based on my thrust setting.
All aircraft be advised information Lima now current. QNH1020.
Okay, still 1020.
Turn right, heading 285.
Turn right, heading 285, velocity 1488.
He's taking us on a base leg here.
Velocity 1488.
You get flaps 1.
Turn right, heading 285, descend to 4,000 feet.
4,000.
Turn right, heading 285,
Good level
descend to
change.
4,000 feet, velocity 1488.
And bring the speed back to 200. So we're level change, 200, thrust is at idle. Flaps 1 is out for a little bit of drag. Because it looks like he's going to keep us a little bit high here. I'm going to go flaps 5.
Velocity 1488. Turn right, heading 345.
Turn right, heading 345, velocity 1488.
Yeah, he is keeping us tight here, so I'm going to get the speed brake out.
Velocity 1488. Turn right, heading 345, descend to 3,000 feet.
Turn right, heading 345, descend to 3,000 feet, velocity 1488.
So 345, 3,000. And he is keeping us tight here, so we're a little above the glide path, so I'm going to keep speed brake out. We got flaps 5. I'll keep the speed at 200 until we capture the glide slope.
1488. Contact Perth Tower 127.4. Have a good morning.
He really didn't clear us for the approach, but I'm going to
1488.
engage it.
Perth Tower, velocity 1488. ILS approach runway 03.
With the heading 016.
Velocity 1488. Perth Tower. Wind
Got altiquire, so I'm going to put a lower altitude, go level change again. So I'll put the next altitude in.
Runway 03, clear to land. Velocity 1488.
See, this is where it's going to be a lot of work. I'll put 1,000 feet since we're visual. And we'll try to catch for that glide slope. And put gear down. Flap 15. I'll keep the speed at 180 till we capture the glide slope. Okay, we've captured the glide slope, so I'll put in the missed approach altitude now. And just remember, I'm still controlling the throttle, so speed's coming back. So I'm going to bring the speed back to,
742. Holding short.
put flap 15 in, and I'll bring it back to flap 15 speed.
Link 1742. Perth Tower.
And we are clear to land.
0 degrees. 4 knots. Runway 06.
Okay, we'll get flap 30. Set our target of 53. And we'll do the landing checklist and we'll get some thrust in. So 55 is pretty good to start. Okay, so landing checklist. We got engine start switches, continuous, speed brake, arm, landing gear is down, flaps 30 green light, line checklist complete. Speed's a little bit slow. We have been cleared to land. There's 1,000 feet, check set approach altitude, 3,000 feet set.
1,000.
So we're stabilized. Yeah, that was a little rush for the approach, and he actually didn't clear us for the approach. So not a perfect little vectored approach by Beyond ATC. Made me work a little harder, especially without a throttle. So I'm just controlling my speed with the thrust. Okay, autopilot off.
500.
Contact Perth, departure 118.7.
400.
1742.
Nice light winds.
300.
A little bit low. Speed's good.
200. 100.
Speed's good.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, speed brakes up. Reverse. The brakes. 60 knots. Auto brake disarm.
Velocity 1488. Exit right at Papa.
Exit right at Papa. Velocity 1488.
Okay, we'll make a right turn here. I think this is Papa, but I'm not sure.
Velocity 1488. Contact ground 121.7.
Ground 121.7. Velocity 1488. Good day.
Yep, we're on Papa. So we'll contact ground. And request taxi to assigned gate 144.
Velocity 1488. Request taxi to assigned gate.
So landing lights off.
Velocity
Switches
1488.
off.
Taxi to stand 144
Strobe
via
light
Papa.
can go off.
Charlie, link 4.
Taxi to stand 144 via Papa. Charlie, link 4, velocity 1488.
So stand 144 is right in the corner. So Papa, link 4, unit stand 4. It's good. Auto brake off. Flaps are coming up. Speed brake is down. Okay, radio's off. Reset our trim. Tell GSX to set our gate. Right there. Okay, I think I got everything done, so we'll just taxi in. Well, welcome to Perth. That was a little more challenging than I was hoping for, but what are you going to do? Got her done. So right turn and a left turn at link 4 to stand 144. Okay, we'll do the afterline checklist. Stab trim is reset. Flaps are up, no lights. Speed brake is down. Auto brake is off. Radar is standby. Transponder can go to just transponder mode. Get the APU on now. Probe heat can go off. Start switches are off. APU is to go. I think we're parking just beside that other Virgin light there. Yeah, so I did hit record, so we can go back and so I won't shut the airplane down when we get to the gate. We'll just go back and take a look at the landing there. So 144 should be the next stand there, I think. Get the APU on. Yeah, so it was a nice flight down the west coast of Australia to Perth. Hope you enjoyed it. Unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a bug going on with the alpha throttle in the 737. Hope nobody else has that, but yeah, we got APUs on the buses, we're good. Up. Parking brake is on. So I'm going to leave the engines running. I'm going to put the flaps back down to flap 30. And then we'll just take a look at the landing, see how it looked from the outside. I didn't think it was too bad. It looked like a fairly smooth landing. Once we get the flaps out, we'll reposition the plane. Yeah, so this is Orbec's Perth scenery. We got some Emirates A380s here. Wow. Yeah, it's not a bad little scenery. Okay, so I'll get the flight recorder going here. And we'll reposition the plane. Okay. So I think everything is looking good. Yeah, so I expected ATC to take us a little bit further than that. They kept us pretty tight for, that's more like a visual approach, even though they said they were on ILS. So it did make it a bit challenging, especially without the auto throttle. We get a nice external view here for landing. Yeah, the photogrammetry here in Perth looks really good too. Like I said, I did some flights in a flight from Melbourne to Sydney, and the photogrammetry for those cities look really good as well. Probably floated a little bit on this one, but nice long runway. Well, there we go. Welcome to Perth again. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the flight today. It was a lot of fun. A little more challenging flying without the autopilot. If you did enjoy it, hit that like, share, subscribe, sign up for notifications, and you'll see videos like this when I put them out in the future. Again, thanks for joining me, and I'll try to get another live stream out next week, and hopefully the ATR will be out by then, and we can maybe look at some New Zealand ops in the ATR. So thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time on the Bandit Flight Simmer channel. Bandit out. Cheers.